And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I have a problem. My son does not want to eat any vegetables. This is anathema to me. He will learn if it takes us all his life. Vegetables are good for you. Vegetables are delicious, especially cauliflower. But anyhow, this game, Veggie Garden, is about planting vegetables, about harvesting vegetables, but it's essentially just a very light card game where you're trying to get points, trying to collect the vegetables that are worth the most points, or take the vegetables that are in your hand and make them more valuable, and also hurt other people along the way. It's a really short card game. Here's how it plays. In Veggie Garden, you're going to be using 5 out of 6 vegetables. So for in this game, we've taken out carrots. Sorry, people who love carrots, but we had to take something out. So you're going to shuffle a deck full of these vegetable cards, taking out, of course, the one you're not using. So we take out carrots in this case. If you're playing with the peas, you're going to put the groundhog. You're going to fill this up randomly. You're going to put the groundhog on one of these spaces in the middle. Now, everyone's going to start with 2 random cards in their hands. So let's say, for example, I start with 2 peppers. Oh, all right. And at the end of the game's going to take 6 turns. At the end of the game, you're going to have 8 vegetable cards in your hand. If you've one of all 5 types of vegetables, you get 10 points. Also, each vegetable is going to be worth points. At the beginning of the game, these are going to be put out randomly, these fence posts. And the one that they're next to is going to be worth points. These 4 in the middle are worth nothing. So potatoes, for example, right now are worth 3 plus 2, 5 plus 2, 7. Every potato card is worth 7 points. Cabbage cards are worth 6 points. Peppers are worth 2. Tomatoes are worth 4. And peas are worth 5. And this could change. And that's the whole point of this game, is to change how these things work and to see which vegetables are going to be worth points at the end of the game. So the game's pretty simple. On your turn, you are simply going to pick one of these 4 cards here and then use the action associated with that vegetable and then replace this, and this vegetable goes into your hand. So everyone's going to do that 6 times, then you'll reveal and score. Each of these is going to have a different action. Peppers lets you swap 2 adjacent vegetables or 2 adjacent fence posts, and you can do it diagonally or right next to it. You can't switch to one where the groundhog is. If you use peas, you get to move the groundhog to another spot in the compost, and then you can switch 2 cards that are on different sides of the groundhog. So I can switch those like that. If I do the tomato, I can take a veggie, I can get rid of one of these veggies and replace it with one from over here. If I have the potato, I can get rid of one of these and replace it with one from my hand. If I use a cabbage, I can shift a whole row like this, moving this here, or I can shift the whole row of the fence posts. And if I have the carrots, at the beginning of the game, one of the fence posts will have a rabbit on it. You replace it like this. That one's 0, and basically the carrots lets you move the bunny to a fence post in exchange. So I could go here and move this here. That's it. That's the simplicity of the game. Most points is the winner. Now, there's one thing that this game did which I really like, and I hope that more companies take this into consideration. This game comes with these sheets of stickers. Now, I don't need these stickers at all, but they're in different languages. So instead of having to have extra components, they take these cards here with the veggies, and you just take the sticker for your language and paste them on it. That's a really good idea, and I thought that was just a neat thing. I haven't seen that before. I like it. Rather than making people go hunt up their own things and paste them up, this was an easy fix to that solution. The game itself looks good, right? Looks like all these different vegetables. They're easy to do. I can easily see them adding more vegetables to the garden. You just switch, each vegetable is going to do something different. But the game has a nice table presence. It's also really easy to explain to people. This is what I would call a gateway game, a game where I can teach people who've never played games before. This is a game you can play with grandma and you can play with kids. It just works across the board. This game is in the same category as Loco, which is a very popular game in which you are trying to make a set of something valuable and get that set at the same time. So it's kind of interesting. I don't want to put too much of there's so much strategy in this game, but there is some, right? For example, potatoes. If I have a bunch of potatoes out on the board, those potatoes are pretty valuable. But that means I probably don't have as many potatoes in my hand. The more potatoes on the board that make the potatoes valuable, the less I can have in my hand. If I have a whole lot of potatoes in my hand, they're probably not on the board. And if people see that potatoes on the board are valuable, they're going to be hurting those, or they're going to be collecting potatoes themselves. So it's kind of this balancing act. Also, having one of every vegetable, that 10 bonus points can be a game changer. Several games I've been in, that's determined who won. So you have to sit there and go, do I want peas? Peas are worth nothing right now. Well, kind of like in normal life. But don't email me pea lovers. But these peas are worth nothing. But if I take them, I'll get the 10 points for the set. But if I have one of all 5, I probably don't have 4 peppers, and peppers happen to be worth 8 points or something. So it's kind of interesting. Other than that, it's very light, right? Switch this, move this, go there. And with more players, there's going to be a lot of switching and moving things, but it plays quickly enough that this doesn't matter, right? It's not necessarily a take that game, but moving the groundhog and moving things around, you're watching the value. Do I want to put all my eggs in one basket? An odd metaphor for vegetables. Do I want to put all my potatoes in one basket? You know, like potatoes are worth a lot. I have a lot of potatoes. That's fine, but I'm taking the chance that at the end of the game, 2 people move the potatoes and now they're worth a whole lot less. Again, I'm not trying to read too much strategy into this game, but there's more than you think. It's a fun, light, tactical vegetable game. Have I said that sentence before? But I highly recommend it. Check it out. Veggie Garden. Dice Tower Judgment. Eat your veggies. I mean, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.